Just as I'm recording this, there are images coming in from around the country of these massive anti-Trump, pro-government protests that took place on Saturday. And not just in places like D.C. and L.A. and Chicago, New York, but there's images of tens of thousands of people showing up in Salt Lake, thousands in small towns in Idaho and Indiana, Alabama, Alaska. I was at the protest at Bryant Park here in New York City. My 80-year-old parents were there, my 7-year-old daughter, 3 generations trying to stand up for government, social services, and sanity. And in those protests, there was true energy. The signs were funny, the drums were out, the chants were righteous and fun. And when it comes to energy, I want to highlight another thing that happened earlier this week. Cast your mind back, all the way back to Monday and Tuesday. It feels like forever ago, but that was when New Jersey Senator Cory Booker mounted a 24-hour-plus speech on the Senate floor. There's this small question a few listeners have chimed in to ask about whether it was technically a filibuster. It's funny, I've kind of seen convincing arguments in both directions, but since it wasn't actually intended to block a vote or a bill, I think the vote on the NATO nomination was going to go forward as soon as he was done speaking regardless. It may have been just a super long floor speech and not technically a filibuster under that definition. I've also seen many good arguments that say basically, you know what, at this point, super long speech on the floor to gum things up. Let's just call it a filibuster. We all know what we're talking about. That's kind of where I land. I buy that. Anyway, at 24 hours and 18 minutes in, Booker broke the previous record held by Senator Strom Thurmond, who was definitely trying to block some legislation, the Civil Rights Act of 1957. I've always thought that Thurmond's record has been more than just a Senate curiosity, this record-long speech, but a real source of shame. Why is one of the more notable records in our political history held by a segregationist? And honestly, I'm surprised that over the years, someone didn't just do a super long filibuster to wipe Strom Thurmond off the record books. That wasn't the point of what Booker did, but he did. And to my mind, he added a real dose of energy to the Democratic Party. I think you can see that energy carrying through into some of those special elections that happened on Tuesday of this week, and then into the protests this weekend. So a big week. And I think we should all mark the first week of April 2025 as one to check the history books for. Will it be the story of Trump's tariffs changing everything? Or will this week be the one where Democrats found their energy? Or who knows what might come next and wipe it all from the history books?